Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy, Base the Kid. As always, please like and subscribe, share with a friend, a colleague, a relative, an associate, an enemy, any and all in between. It's appreciated. Now, as you guys know, news travels extremely fast in this day and age. You put out a video, and as soon as you put out that video, all of a sudden the contents of that video just changes. So as always, we gotta go back in, we gotta clean it up. This is also a bit of a special edition of the Hardcore Casual because it's the Hardcore Casual meets Base's Picks, or in this case, Base's Pick, as I'm only going to be talking about one fight for this weekend. I would have done the entire roster, but I've been out of the house running errands, checking on one of my uncles and just doing XYZ. So yeah, I haven't really had time to watch the stuff on GBM, and all that stuff is actually playing in the background as I'm recording this. So yeah, we're gonna go and we literally just doing the Chisora fight. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit, but before we do that, big news that we have to discuss and we have to dissect and we have to kind of get into. So without further ado, let's get into it. So early on Thursday morning, we got news essentially that Canelo v Crawford was supposedly off, and there was no sort of updates. Everything was kind of being drip fed throughout the day, and you just hear that there's a big Canelo v Jake Paul fight about to take place. So we all thought, okay, well, it could be a situation where maybe they want to see how that fight pans out before they allow the Crawford fight to take place in any other deal. We had heard that Canelo would be looking at a free fight deal in Riyadh, etc, etc. Then everything sort of fell apart, and it was all like, okay, did Canelo price himself out? Did Crawford price himself out? Did Turkey get upset that Canelo was taking a different fight outside of the agreement they had spoken about? No one knew anything. So the videos all go out, and then as the videos go out, we then find out that actually Turkey goes on his social media in a video form, so not just written media, and stipulates that now it's official that Canelo Alvarez has signed a 4-fight deal with Riyadh Season. A fight in May to take place in Riyadh, a fight in September to probably take place in Las Vegas to be the fight against Terence Crawford, and then a fight in February, and then a fight in October. So the end of 25-26 Riyadh season, and then the start of 26-27 Riyadh season. So yeah, I mean, it's what can we say? It's big news. The money has to be crazy. It's gonna be insane. Jake Paul and MVP Promotions have come out. They put out a statement basically saying, look, we always try to put the best events on possible. We like to work with integrity and etc, and we like to work with people that also have integrity, but we feel as if unfortunately there are many others within the industry, within the game, that don't share the same levels of professionalism and integrity as them. So clearly they probably feel as if either Canelo and the team are not men of their words based on obviously the agreements and stuff that's put into place, or maybe they feel like they were used by Canelo and the team for the simple fact of, okay, well, you guys want to pay me this, hey Turkey, look, this is what they want to pay me to disrupt what you talking about, so what are you saying? And Turkey decides, well, let's get Jake Paul out of there. Like, look, I'll pay you something comparable to face at least a proper boxer within your weight class, or a weight class in and around yours. And Turkey and Canelo make off in the way that they want. I mean, look, Canelo probably feels like he's robbed the bank, and Turkey feels like, well, now I've got the biggest star in boxing over to Riyadh, so along with him will come a whole load of tourists, a whole load of Mexican Americans, Mexicans, or whoever can pay to get out there and actually stay out there. Not that it's that expensive. Riyadh, you know, is actually kind of affordable to be honest, especially from all the hotels and stuff I've seen when I was looking to travel out there. But look, it's a big coup for everyone around, and it's, you know, for actually, I don't want to use that phrase because I know there's a few people is going to be getting at me in the comments. But yeah, look, Jake Paul unfortunately looks like he got played. But it's funny because if you're talking about quote unquote integrity and professionalism within the sport, from the fact that, you know, Canelo had this quote unquote agreement in place with Turkey to begin with, and then switched his attentions to you guys outside of this deal, which probably had a caveat to say, we just want you to fight this fight and then 2 more fights afterwards. You can maybe see from there, well, you know, ultimately, for lack of a better word, and I don't mean this in a malicious sense, but Canelo at this point probably is a bit of a mercenary for hire. You know, he'll go to the highest bidder, whomever can give him the most money for the fights he wants to take, or for the opportunities that he decides that, you know, he wants at this time in his career. And I don't blame him. You know, like, he's given almost 20 years to the sport of boxing, possibly looking to give another 1 or 2. You know, he's done all his heavy lifting, he's done all of his legacy defining stuff. Right now he's on that victory lap. I don't necessarily agree with it necessarily if you're holding all the belts and all of that, but that being said, outside of the potential Jake Paul fight, he was still fighting, you know, ranked top 10 contenders. Even, you know, Edgar Berlanga was in the top 10 of a couple of sanctioning bodies, whether he deserved to be there or not, you know. But, you know, the Jaime Munguia's, although funnily enough, the Jaime Munguia fight was supposed to age well. That fight may end up aging like milk out in that Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait desert streets, like in summer, because obviously getting knocked out by Bruno Soros, who only had 4 KOs prior to fighting you in 26 fights or whatever it was, that may not age that well on the resume. So yeah, I mean, the Berlanga fight may age well, but again, it may not. The Callum Smith fight, we're a bit in between as to how that's aged. Billy Joe Saunders fight hasn't aged well because he hasn't come back since then. Caleb Plant fight, that hasn't really aged well because he lost twice. He lost once and, you know, got knocked down since then against, you know, Trevor McCumbee. I don't know. So maybe it's like the run, even though obviously when you fought all of those people, it was amazing work. But now when you're kind of looking back, ain't none of those victories really aging the way that you would hope. So I don't know, maybe at this point the victory lap might have to wait 1 or 2 fights while you maybe get a couple of sustained or some couple of, you know, really top-notch wins that will actually age, especially if you're taking on some of the prospects in the game. But look, 4 fights, you know, as the video will say, it's you know, it's foreplay in Riyadh, because he's definitely playing in the money, as they say. So look, I guess now we just got to figure out who May is, and clearly May is likely going to be a tune-up type fight of sorts. I would still like for Terence Crawford to go out there and fight and do something just to get back active, but I know he's not going to, and he clearly doesn't feel like he needs to. So yeah, look, let's get to May. Let's get that show on the road out in Saudi, although I can imagine it's going to be very hot because that's the start of the summer. So yeah, that might be a bit of an interesting one, but we get past May all the way to September. Let's go. Now look, moving to Saturday, we got Derek Chisora versus Otto Wallin. The last dance, as they called it. They should have put in you know, in brackets in England, because he keeps saying, you know, this is the last UK based fight. So clearly the 50th fight was supposed to be quote unquote for him in Africa. It may end up in Riyadh. You know, there is a chance maybe it goes on an undercard of an African Riyadh season somewhere if they can get it together, or it may be an American fight. Fine, but this is what we got. Now, I'm not doing ever since the Hutchinson and Zach Parker fight sort of fell out, I've just don't really have much interest in the others. The only other fight I did have interest in was the Nathan Heaney fight, but I don't know his opponent well enough. Haven't seen anything to be able to really give you guys an honest assessment of the fight. So we're going just for the main event. Now, ultimately, here's one thing that we look at. Derek Chisora doesn't like southpaws. He's made that abundantly clear on numerous occasions, but he's actually had some success with southpaws, even southpaw movers. I mean, the Artur Szpilka fight was maybe the best example that we had. Even though Szpilka wasn't actually moving like he usually does in that particular fight, he was still, quicker naturally than Derek, obviously coming up and being a former cruiserweight. But Derek was able to cut the ring off, obviously, and it was a highlight reel knockout at the end of it. Even though Szpilka's, chin wasn't really anything special at that point in time. But Chisora, one thing that we know about Derek, and I've said it before, Derek has this innate knack of looking like out on his feet from maybe the end of the first round, like super, like just bare gasping in the corner, like looking like he's half dead, like he can't get enough oxygen into his body. But then every round, as soon as he gets up off the stool, he manages to just find 3 minutes of energy. He gets this big energy dump, and then it's the same settings in the corner again. So he's gonna make Otto Wallin work. Now, Otto by trade, I would say, is probably a pure boxer. He likes to keep distance, keep the space, work behind the jab, bring the backhand in when it's safe to do so, but not take too many chances. And Otto, actually, even though he's a little bit heavier in this fight than he was in his previous fight against AJ, and I think his fight against Tyson Fury, actually no, I think he was a little bit heavier in the Tyson Fury fight, but he's only coming at about something like 238, 239 pounds. So he's, quite small, especially for being 6'5". He's got a very lean frame, even though he's a bit podgy in the midsection. So I don't know how he's going to be able to move. I actually don't think he's going to move in this fight as much as a lot of people are thinking. I think he's going to try to initially, but in order to get the respect and to try and keep Derek Chisora at bay, you've kind of got to hold your feet. Now, the one thing about Otto Wallin, he's got okay power, but he doesn't necessarily have keep me off of you power. He doesn't have power whereby you're going to be like afraid to take the shots. You're going to be afraid to sort of get hit with it, to try to come in and make your own work. The one thing that Otto Wallin does have to his advantage, and I've seen him do it in quite a few fights, is that he's got this really sort of slashing shots whereby he normally is able to draw blood from opponents. He's able to sort of find that that tissue just above the eyelid. He normally can open up cuts on people. Now, the trajectory he's got to throw those shots at might make it a bit difficult to sort of get Derek with any of those clean slashing shots, but you never know. So kind of he's got to be able to move to try and he's got to be able to move. He's got to be able to try and land enough sort of clean shots to make Derek just back up a moment. Even if you can't necessarily force him back, you've got to be able to stop the work rate. Now, to be fair, if you just jab in between Chisora while he's marauding forward, you can actually outbox him to a fairly comfortable decision if you've got the energy to do so. We've seen Adric Caballero do it years ago, and even Kubrat Pulev in the second fight. I thought he won that fight just barely, but he was able to just work in between Derek, because Derek, like, he throws a big bomb, like a big sweeping left or a big overhand right, maybe digs a 1 or 2 shots to the body, but he doesn't work a lot through rounds. So if you just have a little bit more work rate than him for the most part and don't get caught with nothing stupid, you should be able to take him past the rounds and sort of win quite comfortably on the cards. But I do think that in the first rounds especially, Derek Chisora he's going to cut the ring off. He's going to switch from orthodox to southpaw just to be able to throw a looping shot at Otto Wallin, to be able to stop him from trying to move side to side. I think he's going to try to push him back into corners, onto the ropes, just make it really uncomfortable, make it really nasty. I don't think that's why he's going to hit low, but he's going to be hitting at the top of the hips. He's going to be looking for those ribs, looking for that spleen, the kidneys. I feel like he's just going to, in those early rounds, just really try to bust up Otto Wallin and, basically try to almost take his heart away from him, similar to the Anthony Joshua fight. And then towards the back stretch of the fight, where Derek will maybe slow down naturally, he probably would have hoped that he's banked enough early, not just early rounds, but enough early damage that Wallin can't really take advantage of the fact that he's slowed down, because he should also be tired and hurt in that moment. Now, Wallin has got a decent chin. He's, as far as I can remember, he's never actually been down as a pro. Obviously, the hardest he's ever been hit was by Anthony Joshua. Broke his nose, spun him around, spun him off balance a couple times, but he never he never took a knee, never got knocked down, never got knocked out. So his chin is actually not bad. Plus his defensive capabilities in a crisis is also not terrible. So I can't see Derek Chisora getting the stoppage. I can't see him getting the knockout. And if that were to occur, it's literally got to be from a shot where maybe they're both throwing and Derek just happens to get there first, and it's double momentum, and maybe Otto gets scrambled, drops down, maybe even gets to his feet, but is wobbly and the referee waves it off. I don't know who the referee is. I guess the only way this fight actually ends in a stoppage is if we got Howard Foster as a referee. So I guess we have to wait and see for that. But looking at the fight, looking at the two, my instincts will tell me that, sort of the rangier, taller guy would, and especially the southpaw, who's a bit more awkward and tricky, would have the advantage and should take this fight. But when you've got a southpaw that is a pure boxer like Otto Wallin, with not the biggest of punches, against someone that's just going to be marauding forward, that's not really looking to ultimately win rounds conventionally, same way Derek Chisora is. And in this, this mode of Chisora in this last fight, so he's going to be extra amped up. He's going to find energy from places we didn't know existed in this universe. He's going to be drawing spirits from left, right, center, all different types of gods and deities and and entities. He's going to be pulling for this last fight again with the British Mancunian fans. So with all of that being said, I picked him to beat Joe Joyce, and I just have a feeling that yet again he's going to get it done again here. And I do think Derek Chisora, in a very narrow, probably a narrow decision. I think it would be a unanimous one, but I think it would be quite close on the scorecards. And it's only a 10 rounder, so we're talking 6-4, maybe even a 5-4 and a 1 even, so like 6-5 to the round, something like that. But yeah, I see Derek Chisora getting a unanimous decision victory. So that is my prediction. Please leave yours down below. Let me know what you think about the fight and who you think is going to win. I will be doing a watch along for maybe the last fight or maybe the last 2 fights on the card, depending on what the chief support is. So make sure you tune into that as well. So thank you very much for watching. That's Basis Picks locked. And look out for everything moving forward. But for right now, it's the Hardcore Casual out.